Rain gnawed at the windows like small teeth. The lunch rush hadn't ended. It just changed clothes and called itself dinner. Plates hissed. Cutlery chimed. The espresso machine coughed like a tired smoker. Sophia balanced 3 bowls of soup, steam kissing her cheeks. Her hands shook very slightly. Not from weight. From a weight you can't put down. Michael, the manager, watched the door like it owed him money. Table 7 needs their steaks now, he snapped. And smile. Sophia nodded. Yes, Michael. Her voice was sanded down, gentle, careful. She set the bowls, thanked the couple, stepped back into the river of movement. Her phone vibrated in her apron. A text she already knew by heart. Service is starting. She didn't open it. She couldn't. She closes her eyes for one breath. The room blurs to a soft hum. At table 7 sat Robert Hale, the billionaire whose photo lived in headlines and elevator screens. Suit like night. Watch that flashed when the chandeliers breathed. Across from him, Evelyn scrolled. Beside them, John, the driver, folded his large hands and tried to become furniture. Sophia approached with water. Welcome, she said, steady. Still or sparkling? Robert didn't look up. Still. His voice carried the weariness of men who never hear the word no. She poured. Droplets tapped glass. She smelled pepper, rosemary, a thread of lemon. Somewhere in the kitchen, a pan screamed, then calmed. Her phone pulsed again. This time a photo. A line of chairs. A framed portrait. White lilies glowing like small moons. Her mother's face in the frame, smiling a smile that had learned to be brave. Sophia's breath stumbled. She swallowed it whole. She told herself it didn't matter. The funeral could happen without her body in a chair. But the truth dragged at her ankles like wet fabric. It mattered. It mattered like air. Michael hovered. Phone away, he hissed. Yes, she whispered, tucking the ache back into her pocket. Robert glanced up, just once, catching the tremor in her fingers. He looked away. He had meetings measured in countries. He had a board call in an hour. He didn't have time for strangers' storms. Orders landed. Ribeye, medium. Sea bass, crisp skin. Truffle fries like perfume you could eat. Sophia carried plates as if ferrying fragile planets. Near the bar, Emma, a server with mascara brave enough to fight rain, touched Sophia's elbow. You okay? Sophia's smile was too fragile to wear. I'm fine. You can go, Emma whispered. I'll cover. Sophia's eyes burned. If I go, she said softly, I won't have a job to come back to. She looked past Emma to Michael, to his clenched jaw, to the schedule with her name circled like a trap. Mom would tell me to finish what I started. She turned, almost colliding with John. He steadied the tray as if it were a living thing. Careful, he murmured, kindness hiding in the low gravel of his voice. Thank you, she said. Plates arrived at table 7 in a choreography she could dance blindfolded. She named the dishes, the sauces, the wine. Evelyn smiled. You're very good. Practice, Sophia replied. Robert cut into the steak, then paused. Your hands, he said without looking up. They're shaking. Sophia's heart tripped. She forced air through it. Too much coffee, she said lightly. Enjoy your meal. She walked away on legs that felt borrowed. The rain scratched at the glass like a cat trying to be let in. Her phone buzzed one more time. It's over. We laid her to rest. She looked beautiful. I'm sorry you couldn't come. Sophia leaned against the service station, palms flat on cool steel. The room's noise slides under a door. Only her breath remains. Behind her, a voice said quietly, You missed a funeral today. She turned and met the eyes of a billionaire who, for the first time, was actually looking. What would you do if your job made you miss the last goodbye? Have you ever smiled for strangers while your heart was breaking? Robert gestured for Sophia to step aside, away from the chandelier light. His face, up close, had the exhaustion of someone followed by his own name. How did you know? She asked, surprised to hear the steadiness in her voice. He nodded toward the bar where Emma stood, wringing a towel. Your friend said you should go. Your boss said you shouldn't. He watched Michael barking orders like a conductor with a broken baton. And you stayed. Sophia folded her hands to keep them still. I needed the hours. For what? Robert asked. She could have lied. Pride tastes like iron when you bite it. Oxygen rental, she said. Hospital debt. The bills don't care who's in the ground. Evelyn approached. Phone dimmed. Eyes softer than her lipstick suggested. We can come back another time, she murmured to Robert. Sophia shook her head quickly. Please stay. It helps to work. She glanced toward the door, where rain painted crooked ladders on the glass. If I stop, I'll think. A single drop of water slithers down the window, slow as a second hand. Robert's jaw tightened. What was her name? Farah? Sophia breathed, and the shape of it warmed her mouth. She wore jasmine oil. She laughed like a kettle about to sing. She taught me to count my breaths when panic came. His eyes flickered. I'm sorry. The words sounded new on his tongue. Michael appeared like a storm front. Sir, ma'am, your atrace? He didn't look at Sophia. Back to work. Robert didn't move. A moment, he said, an edge in his tone that moved mountains and markets. Michael deflated, retreated, muttering about timing and tips. Sophia almost smiled. He's not all bad, she said. Just scared of the rent, like the rest of us. Robert studied her. You could have gone. I could have been fired, she replied. He didn't say what he thought. That losing a job is not the same as losing a mother. He knew business. He didn't know grief. A table snapped fingers. A fork clattered. The espresso machine coughed again. Sophia stepped back into the flow. Service waits for no one. Not kings, not orphans, not daughters who missed goodbyes. She poured water, checked plates, reset silverware like prayers. At table 7, Evelyn watched Robert watch Sophia. You're thinking something reckless, she said softly. He exhaled. Maybe. Reckless can be good, she replied. If it's kind. When dessert orders came, Robert closed his menu. No dessert, he told Michael. Bring the bill. Michael blinked. Sir, we? And call everyone together, Robert added. Staff, kitchen, all of them. Michael stared like a man who'd been handed a live wire. We're in service. Then pause service, Robert said. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Chairs stopped moving. Spoons hung in midair. The rain hushed, listening. Michael hesitated, then clapped his hands. Everyone to the front, he called, as if it had been his idea all along. Cooks emerged, collared by steam. Dishwashers wiped wet hands on aprons. Emma took Sophia's fingers and squeezed. John stood at the doorway like a sentinel. Evelyn put her phone away as if that were an act of faith. Robert stepped onto a low riser near the host stand. He looked out over the faces that kept the city fed. He cleared his throat. I'm Robert Hale, he said, and someone in the back snorted, we know. I came here to eat. I ended up learning a story. He glanced at Sophia. A daughter missed her mother's funeral to keep this place humming. That should make us all feel small. A murmur. Rain pressed its ear to the glass. I can't give her those minutes back, he said, voice roughening. But I can stop time for a while. He turned to Michael. Close the doors. Just for 1 hour. Michael opened and closed his mouth. We'll lose money. I'll cover it, Robert said. And more. He reached into his coat, pulled out a small velvet pouch, and held up a key shaped like a leaf. And I'm about to do something your landlord will not understand. If you were Robert, what would you do in that moment? Should a business ever pause for one person's pain? Or is that how we stay human? The sign in the window flipped to closed. Rain stitched silver lines between streetlights. Inside, the room inhaled. The buzz turned to a hush you could carry in your hands. Robert gave Michael the key. This is to the old chapel on Harbor Street, he said. I bought it last year to turn into an event space. I never used it. Tonight we use it right. Michael frowned. A chapel? For an hour, Robert said. We give her what she missed. A goodbye. He turned to Sophia. If you want it. Sophia's throat closed. For a heartbeat, the room doubled. She saw the chapel the way her mother would warm as tea, windows like thin oceans, the air smelling faintly of lemon oil and rain. Yes, she whispered. Please. Emma grabbed a basket. Candles. John was already moving, quiet and efficient. I'll bring the car. Evelyn typed 3 messages, then slipped the phone away. No cameras, she told Robert. Not a story. A moment. They walked. Rain sewed their shoulders to the night. Footsteps on wet pavement. Breath in white threads. The chapel waited, old wood patient as an elder. Inside it smelled like stories. Michael fumbled with switches. Light draped itself along the pews. Emma lit candles that woke like small suns. John unfolded a simple white cloth on the front rail. Sophia touched the wood. It hummed under her palm with the memory of hands before hers. Mom loved jasmine, she said. And old songs. Evelyn produced a small vial from her purse, because of course she carried something like that. Jasmine Absolute, she explained softly. From a travel kit. She dabbed it onto the cloth onto Sophia's wrists. The air changed. Grief grew a garden. Robert stood to one side, unsure of where the rich belong when money is useless. He cleared his throat. Would you tell us about her? Sophia smiled without showing teeth. She made the world softer, she said. She taught me to count to 4 when I couldn't breathe. Inhale 2, hold 1, exhale 1. She made biryani that could fix a Tuesday. She called my father a hero until the word wore thin with truth. John bowed his head. Emma sniffed and didn't pretend she wasn't crying. Sophia's hands trembled. She let them. I should have been there, she whispered. I should have held her hand. Robert stepped forward, then stopped, letting the space belong to her. You're here now, he said. And so is she. Sophia placed the framed photo Emma had hurried back to fetch onto the white cloth. Her mother smiled at them from a day when pain was only a rumor. Sophia traced the edge of the frame. Goodbye, Mama, she said. Forgive me. The room listened. Rain softened into a whisper. They sang. Not a hymn anyone knew, just the low hum of humans agreeing to be a choir for a minute. Breath, breath, breath. No words. Only candle crackle and rain. When it ended, Sophia exhaled like she'd been underwater and found a shore. She turned to Robert. Thank you, she said, and meant it with every old wound in her voice. He nodded, throat thick. I did the easy part. Michael rubbed his eyes with the heel of his hand and laughed once. Embarrassed. We should go back? Robert shook his head. Not yet. He took a breath that sounded like a decision. I have something else. He reached into his coat again, unfolded a document, and slid it onto the rail beside the photo. The heading glowed in the candlelight. The Farah Foundation Tuition and Care Fund. Have you ever been given 1 hour back you thought you'd lost? What would you use it for if someone handed it to you? Evelyn read the first lines aloud, voice steady as a metronome. The Farah Foundation will provide full medical tuition and caregiver stipends to service workers who are studying to become nurses, EMTs, or doctors. She looked up, eyes bright. Starting tonight. Sophia stepped closer, fingertips hovering over paper as if it might fly away. This is yours to lead, Robert said. If you want it. Michael's mouth opened, closed, opened. Lead a foundation? She already leads, Emma said, fierce. We just didn't see it. Sophia shook her head, humbled and frightened. I left pre-med, she confessed. After Dad died. After Mom got sick. I couldn't do everything. Now you don't have to do it alone, Robert said. The foundation covers your return to school. Paid leave when you need it. A caregiver stipend for the months ahead. And for others like you. He swallowed. It's not charity. It's justice arriving late. John cleared his throat. And the landlord? Robert smiled, small and sharp. I bought the building this afternoon. Consider the staff's jobs secure and the rent fair. Michael, you'll receive a bonus tied to staff well-being, not just sales. Michael laughed, the sound shaking some rust off his soul. You're serious? Unthinkably, Evelyn murmured, as if trying the word on. Sophia looked at the photo. Her mother's smile had not changed. The world around it had. Why? She asked Robert. You didn't know her. He met her eyes. I didn't know my father when he died, he said plainly. Money kept me away. Pride kept me away longer. I can't fix that, but I can learn from it. Tonight you taught me how. The candles bow their small heads. The room waits. Sophia pressed her palm to the paper. The jasmine on her skin rose like a promise. Yes, she said. I'll lead it. I'll go back. I'll help others breathe. A soft cheer rippled through the little congregation. Emma hugged her hard enough to squeak. John, awkward and sweet, patted her shoulder as if blessing a new ship. Robert signed. Evelyn signed. Sophia signed last, the ink shining like a thin river. They walked back to the restaurant under umbrellas large enough to be small roofs. The closed sign still faced the street. Inside, the staff gathered around coffee and leftover creme brulee, cracking sugar with spoons like tiny thunder. Robert stood by the host's stand. We reopen tomorrow, he said. But not tonight. Tonight belongs to Farah. He lifted the photo, Set it on the table with the best light. Emma placed a jasmine sprig in a water glass. Michael put his schedule down and, for once, didn't pick it back up. Sophia touched the frame. This is a better goodbye than I dared imagine. Evelyn smiled. It's not the last goodbye, she said gently. It's the first of many hellos. The door opened. A woman in soaked scrubs stepped in, clutching a takeout menu. She saw the candles, the photo, the billionaire with his hands not in his pockets, and whispered, "Is this the Farah place? I heard you help people who work and study. I just finished my shift. If someone gave you the resources to turn pain into purpose, what would you build? Do you believe the unthinkable can become the new normal?" Sun peeled the rain off the city like old stickers. The restaurant windows held the soft gold of beginning again. A new sign sat beside the door, hand-lettered by Emma at 2 a.m. Today we feed hope. Inside, Sophia brewed tea that smelled like home. Jasmine, of course. The oxygen company called. A voice like gravel told her the balance was zeroed out. She sat slowly on a stool, laughter breaking out of her like a kept promise. Robert arrived in a sweater instead of a suit, sleeves pushed to his elbows. He looked younger or just less armored. "I brought something," he said, holding up a box. "What is it?" Sophia asked. He opened it. Inside lay a stethoscope, dark and gleaming. "For the first patient you will help as Dr. Sophia," he said. "One day." She touched it. Cold. Solid. Real. "I'll earn it," she said. "You already started," he replied. Michael posted the week's schedule. It had new words at the top. Paid compassion leave available. See Michael. He cleared his throat. I got it wrong yesterday," he said to the room. "I'm sorry." Emma whooped. John clapped once like a gavel. A line formed outside before noon. Students with tired eyes. Nurses with ink on their fingers. Dishwashers in clean shirts. People who kept the city's heart beating. They came for coffee, for forms, for the sound of someone saying, "You matter." Sophia moved among them, light on her feet. She heard the wind nudge the door. She smelled lemon oil from a hastily polished table. She felt the bass drum of a city deciding to be kinder for a minute. Evelyn slid into a booth with her laptop. "Applications are live," she said. "We're trending." She smirked. "And not because of a scandal." Robert looked at the photo of Farah, now framed near the register. He bowed his head the way a man bows when he is not praying but might as well be. "Thank you," he whispered to a woman he'd never met. A teenage girl stepped forward, hands shaking. "My mom cleans offices at night," she said. "She wants to be a nurse. Is this real?" Sophia handed her a form. "Yes," she said. "It's as real as you." Paper against wood. A pen uncaps. A breath steadies. Later, when the lunch rush felt less like a storm and more like a song, Sophia stepped outside. The air tasted like rain brushed clean. She tilted her face to the sky. "Hi, Mama," she murmured. "I said goodbye. And hello." Her phone buzzed. A new message. A video from a number she didn't know. She pressed play. A small room. A nurse in blue. A woman on oxygen, smiling soft. The nurse spoke. "I got a grant from the Farah Foundation. I'm starting school next month. When I graduate, the first patient I'm going to help is my mother." Sophia swallowed sunlight. Tears came warm and certain. She pressed her palm to the glass. "That's it," she whispered. "That's the unthinkable. Not the money. The change." Robert joined her at the door. "You okay?" "I'm good," she said, strange and true. For the first time in a long time, they stood in a quiet that didn't need to be filled. Cars hummed. A bird tried a new song. Across the street, someone taped a handwritten note to a lamppost. "If you missed a goodbye, come find one here." The city kept breathing. The door stayed open. What does a real apology look like to you? If you could give 1 hour back to someone you love, how would you use it? Share your story. Someone who needs courage might read it tonight.